history quiz, not about American history or world history or church history, but baseball history. See if, do any of you know who Stan Musial was? Yeah, a few of our faculty members here. Stan Musial was a baseball player from my hometown, St. Louis, and probably was the best baseball player ever to play there. He died just about 2 weeks ago. So you didn't get Stan Musial right. And does anybody know who Mickey Mantle is? Some Yankee fans there. Mickey Mantle was a great outfielder for the Yankees in the 1950s and 60s. Probably one of the most talented baseball players ever. You know who Bob Costas is? He announces the Olympics and many sports. But he was from St. Louis originally, and he and Stan Musial become friends. His children went to a Catholic school where Stan Musial's grandchildren went. And at the funeral mass about a week ago for Stan Musial, Bob Costas gave one of the eulogies. And during the eulogy, he talked about Mickey Mantle had come to stay at Bob Costas' house in St. Louis, and he had a dinner for baseball people to come, and Stan Musial was part of that. Mickey Mantle was a very talented baseball player, but he had a personal life that was pretty conflicted and complicated. He suffered from alcoholism and other vices that, despite all of his talents, impacted his career as a baseball player. And Bob Costas said that after Musial and the other guests had left, he and Mickey Mantle had a conversation, which at one point Mickey Mantle said to him, he said, you know, I have as much ability as Stan. In fact, I probably had more. Nobody was faster than I. Nobody had more power than I had. But Stan Musial was a better player than I was because he was a better man than I was. It was a beautiful testimony, really, to Musial's, not only his talent as a baseball player, but he was a very, very good human being. Stan Musial was a devout Catholic. He never missed Mass on Sunday. He often went to daily Mass at his parish church. And his Catholicism gave him a rather clear direction for his life. He was an uncomplicated man. Bob Costas said one of the reasons he's not as well known as other players, even though Musial won the batting title 7 times. He was the most valuable player in the league 3 times. He is the 4th on the all-time list of runs batted in, 2nd to the total bases of any hitter in baseball history, only to tie Cobb. Even though he had statistically one of the best records, he wasn't well known for 2 reasons. He played in St. Louis, which isn't a huge media market compared to others, but also because there was no controversy about his life. It wasn't something that a Hollywood movie director might want to write a plot, because his life was uncomplicated. He was a good man. He was a nice guy. Everybody loved him. There wasn't controversy around him. And I think of that as we celebrate this Catholic Schools Week, because my hope, my prayer for each of you, that in your experience in our Catholic schools, that you would be given that same gift of faith that helped Stan Musial be such a great man, and because of that, helped him also to excel in his profession. If we get our faith right in our life, it affects everything else that we do. And the most important part of our Catholic faith is what we do here, is the receiving of Jesus here in the Eucharist. Think back to the day of your first communion. this sacrament. Think about how you were filled with awe and excitement that day. And it's a challenge for us, I think, as Catholics, because Jesus makes himself so available to us to realize that every time we receive the Eucharist is a time that we should be filled with awe and wonder. And every time that we receive the Eucharist, it is an opportunity for us to welcome Jesus into our hearts again and to ask him to allow us to know his love for us. Our Catholic faith teaches us that God has a personal love for each one of us. This is an amazing part of what we believe as Catholic Christians. That God he's not distant from us, he's not unconcerned about us, but that he has a personal interest in each one of us. And he wants us to be filled with this joy that comes from knowing that we're loved by the one who created the whole universe. That in our eyes, in his eyes, we are truly special and unique. That we're made in his image. And that what we celebrate here, that Jesus gave his life on Calvary so that we could share in his life and so that we could share in God's life for all eternity. That what we experience here, that he did that for us, that Jesus gave his life on Calvary, not for just people in general, but for us as individuals. And if we allow ourselves to be penetrated by that love, then it will give us a strength, a power, and it will give us an attitude towards others, that we realize that God has the same love for our fellow human beings, that he gave his life on Calvary for them as well. And so the way we treat others will be reflected in this faith of ours. It also, our faith inspires us to be the best that we can be, to excel, to use our gifts in a way that not only are good for us, but are ways that we glorify God. Occasionally I hear that there are complaints made to the State Athletic Association because our Catholic schools, high schools, are disproportionately represented sometimes in the state championships. Too many Catholic schools are doing too well in sports compared to our numbers. And you know, I think that happens not because we have better athletes than our public school counterparts. It's not because our coaches are more brilliant, although we have very good coaches. But I think it should be because of the motivation that we have. The motivation that inspires our athletes and their coaches is something that's above and beyond just wanting to achieve for our own excellence. We have a motivation to give glory to God with everything that we do. So whether it's at the athletic field or on the basketball court, whether it's on the stage, or whether it's in the science lab or in the classroom, we're called in every aspect of our lives to give our very best because we realize that everything that we have has been given to us by God. And so we strive to give him glory with these gifts. And that's what helps us to excel, not to bring glory to ourselves, but to honor the one who's given us all of these gifts. And our Catholic faith can give us a strength that will help us whatever difficulties or challenges we might have in life. You know, right now there's an effort to canonize